Hello and welcome back to this Damn Foot Idealistic Crusade. This video will be going over the latest additions to my Hardy Boys shelf. It's not too many books, but again, as usual, I try and wait until at least I get a handful to go over before making a new video. So here we are with the first new volume. This is another of the 2016 era Black Spine reprintings by the Penguin Group with the new updates to the cover art. This follows in the same design as the couple of other volumes that I've gotten so far. And again, they've only done the first handful of books and really just kind of stopped after that. Apparently, they are supposed to do more, but it's still, nothing's really happened past this point. So I've started to see these newer editions start to filter through used bookshops and stuff. And so, they've been so cheap. I figured I might as well, get them while they're still around because they may just stop printing these and they may become, quite rare after a while. So again, this fits the design on the other three that I have. So this is, of course, the new 2016 cover art for The House on the Cliff, book 2 of the original canon. And they did the first one for Tower Treasure, and then they did a few more in the next year or two for the next couple books. But again, they really stopped after that, so they've only done the first handful. They never even made it to book 10. So they have these nice looking matching black spines, although they are rather plain, if I'm honest. You do have the Penguin Putnam logo there, and you used to have some form of Grosson and Dunlop there, which is, of course, an imprint of Penguin now. So they do have matching spines, which I am always grateful for, and they're still this sort of plasticky hardback design, so they are pretty much a updating of the glossy cover flashlight editions with the blue spines. I wish they had kept the blue spines. I mean, the black spines look okay, but at this point they had kept the flashlight covers in print for so long. I don't know why they decided to change them, other than trying to just update them for more modern readers, or really I think this was more out of copyright, trying to get a new printing out there under the Penguin banner, and so they just took the opportunity to update the cover. But if you've seen my other videos on these, you'll know that the actual text inside and everything has not changed whatsoever except for the title page. So you still have the book list, which is exactly out of the flashlight cover printing, so this is exactly the same. And then the text inside is the 1959 revised text and has not been changed whatsoever, again, outside of the title page. So here's the illustration, which has been the same since 1959. And here's the new title page with the new copyright information. So basically, outside of this copyright page and the title page on the other side, everything else is exactly the same as a flashlight edition of this book. Just to say the internal illustrations are still there. So again, this is just because this particular copy popped up in one of the local shops for about $1, and it's in perfectly fine shape. So I figured, I already have 3 of them so far. Might as well get this one as well because, they've said they're going to keep reprinting the original books in this form, but there hasn't been any movement on that front. So it may turn out to be something that's short-lived and eventually it'll be collectible, like how for a little window of time in about 2005, they started reprinting the digest as flashlight books, but then got to book 65, 66 and stopped. So now those are big collector's pieces and very hard to find. So it's an okay update, but really, again, not super necessary. They should have just stuck with the flashlight versions, I think. But again, while they're around and they're cheap, I figured why not. So finishing this out is an update with 3 digests and 1 Undercover Brothers title. So I'm pretty much at the point now of just trying to complete these runs, particularly the digests, which are getting increasingly difficult to find since they have not gotten any reprintings. And so these are just chipping off a few more, and these were all found at some of the local bookshops. And so getting into them, we have volumes 103, 122, and 128 of the Digest series, and this is in their what is referred to as the checkerboard type design, hence the little checkerboard pattern that's in the logo. And since these are all post 100, they definitely don't have the alternate covers. Those pretty much, volume 88 was the last to really have reprintings with updated or changed cover art. So pretty much 89 and onward is just a single cover you have to collect, which is helpful so you don't have to have, 2 or 3 copies of every single digest to have all the different covers. So condition wise, these are, there's a little bit of age wear and some corner creasing on some, but I was just happy to find these to, be 3 closer to a complete digest run. And, the prices weren't bad. Usually I'm just happy to find any digest that I'm missing and hope that it's not too dog-eared or too beat up. The only thing with the digest, it does seem that a lot of volumes, as you can see here, it's got some browning, and that seems to be more and more common with digests that I've seen over the years. And I think it's just something to do with age. And of course, one would hope to have a perfect condition copy, but it seems if you're trying to collect the digest, you're going to encounter a lot of volumes that are going to be increasing in some page browning and stuff. And sometimes it just depends on the printing, because I have had one copy of a digest and then found an upgrade copy, and the upgrade copy has no browning whatsoever, and it's the same print run. So it's always down to printing and, of course, storage over time. Show you the rear cover on these, and of course this is long after they stopped doing the internal illustrations, so there are no internal illustrations in these. So this is Undercover Brothers Volume 34, which is Book 1 in the Lost Mystery Trilogy. And if you've seen my video on the Undercover Brothers or know anything about them, they tried to do a number of these duologies and especially trilogies, so basically multi-book story arcs. And so it can be a little tricky if you're trying to collect these particular books and get a complete set. If you're reading them, you'll want to actually complete those mini trilogies, otherwise you're missing a chunk, which was how I was in the case files for years growing up. I had parts 1 and 2 of the Operation Phoenix trilogy, never could get part 3, finally did years later as an adult, and it was a major letdown because the first 2 books were really great, and that third book was a bit on the disappointing side. But of course, I had imagined it for years, so nothing can ever quite live up to that. But yeah, with the Undercover Brothers, there are these inherent trilogies throughout, so it is trickier because you have to worry about the trilogies inside the series. And I wish I had started buying these and the digest as well, much earlier than I did. But I'm glad I finally started, because these Undercover Brother books are actually starting to really dry up. Not quite as bad as the digest, because they are a lot newer, but you don't see them as often, and if you do, it's usually the same handful that they probably printed in greater quantities. So it's like the first couple books and some kind of in the middle numbers, but then trying to find odd volumes that you don't have yet is actually getting relatively difficult now. So again, there's not been any reprintings on these either, and eventually they will probably, I don't know if they'll get as hard to find as some of the digests, but with children's book series and young adult book series, especially when they stop reprinting them and they go out of fashion and they've already switched over to a new type, it's just it then becomes trying to track down every single volume before they just completely dry up. So that does it for this particular Hardy Boys update. Again, not anything massive, but I try to wait until I have at least a few books before doing another video, because otherwise it'll just be me doing a video every time I find a random digest and just talking about one digest. So as always, thank you so very much for watching, and keep hunting and supporting your local bookstores. So that's it for this update to the Hardy Boys shelf. Again, just a very quick update video, but I decided to keep it its own thing so that way it's separate from the other uploads. But as always, thank you so very much for watching, and keep book hunting.